Okay, so rational expressions or rational functions, you can call them really either one, depending on how the notation is. Okay, they consist of a polynomial divided by a non-zero, because of course we cannot divide by zero, so it's got to be a non-zero polynomial. So in other words, we need a polynomial on the top, we need a polynomial on the bottom. And since our last chapter dealt with polynomials and we factored them, that's why that's leading into this the way it is. Okay, so some examples of what they might look like. You might have one that is as simple as maybe say a 20x squared, and then maybe 100 minus x. Okay, that one's not going to be necessarily the most type of complicated one. We obviously cannot factor the top or the bottom. So it's just a nice little monomial on top with a binomial on the bottom. All right, we can do a medium type, which might look like a 2x plus a 1 on the top, and then maybe a 5x squared plus 6x minus 1. Again, nothing necessarily factors there. All right, but it's a little bit more intense because it's got a binomial up here, trinomial on the bottom. All right, the third, I know I'm trying to maybe get the most complicated one we could encounter, maybe a 3x squared plus a 12xy minus a 10y squared. Trying to set this up a little bit nicer to what we're used to seeing, over a 6x to the third minus a 6xy squared. Okay, and then hopefully in that one, the way I wrote that is at this top, you recognize as a trinomial that we learned how to factor in the last chapter. All right, it is one in two variables. So it's got the x squared and the y squared there. All right, hopefully down here you recognize this is a binomial that you could possibly factor out a what, 6x out of it, and then maybe even factor it a second time. Okay, so basically these are what these things look like. Okay, the graphs are going to be extremely different from your polynomial graphs. Polynomial graphs were smooth and continuous. These are not going to be smooth and continuous. They're going to have vertical asymptotes. They're going to have horizontal asymptotes. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of these vertical asymptotes and horizontal asymptotes. Let's first of all kind of maybe do a general definition. An asymptote. All right, general definition. All right, so an asymptote is a line. A line, let's say a line is an asymptote. Let's put it that way. A line is an asymptote of a graph if the graph of the function gets infinitely close to the line, but never touches or crosses it. And then that's typically the definition that they give. All right, especially a very early on definition of an asymptote. Now, every time they give you, I mean, if you've ever noticed this, going through high school, you started out with maybe 7th and 8th grade math, algebra 1, they taught you some rules, and then you move up to algebra 2, and then they go, oh, but wait a minute. Yeah, we taught you this, but now there's always an exception. So as you move up in your math courses, there are going to be exceptions. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and tell you there are exceptions. Horizontal asymptotes are the exception. Functions can cross a horizontal asymptote. So if we've got a horizontal one, it can cross it. All right, that's the exception. But initially, they tell you that it doesn't cross a graph. A function does not cross your asymptote because it's just easier to define it that way because of this gets infinitely close to it, but never touches it. Just makes more sense that way. Okay, now some additional things. I'm out of room on this piece of paper. So I'm gonna have to go on. I'm gonna make little stars is what I'm gonna make a list of little stars here. Okay, so underneath there, first little star here, we denote our asymptotes by dotted or dashed lines. So they can be called dashed, they can be called dotted. All right, so your dotted or dashed lines are used to show an asymptote. Because technically they are not part of the function. All right, they are imaginary lines that obviously give us an indication of the behavior of the graph, but they're not actually the part of the function. They're not part of the graph. So when we hand draw these things, that's why we make them dotted or we make them dashed. On a graphing calculator, you will not see these because they're not part of the function. However, because you know the behavior of the function, it will get infinitely close to one. You can kind of predict where they're going to be. All right. So then I verbally said it, but let's actually write it down. Asymptotes are not part of the actual function. Okay, so a lot of writing here to begin with. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at one of these. And I'm going to go ahead and write it as a function. I'm going to use function notation. So I'm going to say f of x is equal to a 3x squared over an x minus 2 and an x plus 2. All right, now the way I wrote that rational function, the bottom has already been factored, all right, because it's an x plus 2 and x minus 2. Hopefully that you recognize that as it could have been written as an x squared minus 4, because x squared minus 4 is the difference of two squares, which would have factored there. So this one has already been factored. Okay, now when we hand draw this, then, well, here, let me not hand draw it. Let me just do it this way. All right, so I want you to see the difference between hand drawing and what you're going to see in the graphing calculator. So without actually pulling up a graphing calculator, I have a printout of one. And then a little bit more. There we go. All right, so when we hand draw this, all right, you will learn how to determine where the vertical asymptotes are. There's a vertical asymptote that goes through x equals -2. There's also a vertical asymptote that goes through x equals 2. So there you see me hand drawing the dotted lines there. There's also a horizontal asymptote at y equals 3. Okay, again, you can learn in other classes actually how to find them. Now, if you put it in your graphing calculator, if you put this function in your graphing calculator, it still looks the same way. You still see a swoopy over here. You see a swoopy over here and a swoopy up here. Swoopy, very mathematical, by the way, swoopies. Okay, but what you don't see is you don't see the dotted lines. Okay, so in your graphing calculator window, if you have the graphing calculator, you're not going to see them. They're not going to show up. But can't you tell that this portion of the graph is kind of leveling out? All right, kind of evening horizontally out, because what's happening is it's coming down and it's getting infinitely close to this horizontal asymptote, but it's never going to touch it. So it gets infinitely close, but it will never ever touch it. So same thing that's happening as the function goes up right here. This portion of the graph is going up, getting infinitely close to that horizontal asymptote, but it doesn't get there. All right, down here, it really shows you you're coming down. You're getting infinitely close to that x equals 2 line, but it's not touching it. Okay, so that's just the difference between what it looks like in a graphing calculator window, all right, versus what it looks like when you draw them by hand. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do a rough sketch here, just so we have it in our notes. I'm assuming some of you did not copy that down. So here at -2, we had a vertical asymptote. At 2, we had a vertical asymptote. And then at 3, we had a horizontal one. All right, and then we had, and when I hand draw, I do get pretty sloppy in the way I hand draw. Okay, but roughly the graph looked like that, and I didn't zoom back out, and nobody said, hey, you didn't zoom back out. Okay, so there we go. Now, the part in that picture that's kind of important, what you're going to have to do, you're not necessarily going to have to find the horizontal vertical asymptotes in this class. You're just going to have to be able to identify them when you see them. And then when you see them, know the correct way to write them. Okay, so this is a horizontal asymptote. All right, so in other words, it's a horizontal line. The equation for a horizontal line is y equals the number it goes through. All right, so it goes through 3, right? So then this is, and I'm going to put HA for horizontal asymptote, and then we write y equals 3 because it is a horizontal line. So you will have to write the equation to the horizontal lines. Like when given a picture, you'll have to be able to identify what that horizontal line is. All right, what that horizontal asymptote is. All right, as for the vertical ones, all right, vertical lines, the equation for a vertical line is x equals whatever, again, number it goes through. All right, so whatever number it goes through. So this one over here is a vertical asymptote, and it's x, because that's how we do the equation of a vertical line. So this is x equals 2. And then over here, the vertical asymptote is x equals -2. So when looking at a picture, you will have to identify vertical and horizontal asymptotes by writing their equations, which is always y equals and x equals. Okay. All right, now I think my math lab is going to ask you to describe the end behavior of the graph. Okay, so something that my math lab, I might have said math X a minute ago, my math lab is going to ask you to describe the end behavior of the graph at the far left, or they could say, or the far right. Okay, so we don't want to have to rewrite the questions down twice. They're going to say, describe the end behavior of the graph at either the far right or the far left. Okay, so let's do far left. All right, far left. This would be the far left side of the graph. You're looking at the graph left to right. This is clearly the left side. All right, now we know that the x-axis goes on forever and ever in both directions. This portion of the graph also goes on to the left, all right, as far as it possibly can forever and ever and ever, right? That horizontal asymptote also goes on. So when I want to describe the end behavior at the far left of the function, I'm looking right in here, which corresponds to right down here of the x-axis. All right. Now, hopefully we know that what over here is negative infinity, right? Because it's going, so that's the far left going to negative infinity. Now, the question is, what is the graph doing? Well, the graph is coming down and it's getting really, really close to the y value of 3 because of that horizontal asymptote. Okay. So as the graph decreases, as x, the value of x, because this is the x-axis, as the value of x decreases, goes towards negative infinity, the function values approach 3. Okay, so let's write that as an answer. As x decreases, okay, so as x is approaching negative infinity on the far left, the function values approach 3. Okay. Now, if we do the opposite and we say we want to take a look at the far right hand side of the graph, over here is the far right. Actually, let me write the word left over here. Obviously, we gotta know that's left, but just in case. All right, so now if we want to look at the far right hand side of the graph, okay, so down here on the x-axis, that would be the far right hand side, goes on forever and ever and ever to positive infinity. then I'm going to look at the function and see what it's doing. Okay, so this is the far right. And we know that this goes on forever and ever and ever. So there would be a positive infinity out here. So as x increases, as I go to the right, as x increases, the value of the function, all right, now by coincidence on this one, the function, as it gets way out here really close, it's going to get infinitely close to that horizontal asymptote of y equals 3, but it's never ever going to touch it. So again, as x increases, the function values approach 3. So in this particular instance, the answer is the same. It does not always have to be the same. As x increases, the function values approach 3. Now, they are presenting this in this fashion in this course because it's just a college algebra course. All right. This is leading into, if you have to take pre-calculus, if you have to take a calculus class, this is leading into something called limits. Limits are in pre-calc, limits are in calculus. All right. The notation, you use a more formal mathematical notation for limits in those upper level classes. All right. So right now, they just want you to conceptually understand what the graph is doing in relation to the end behavior of the graph. All right, we've already talked about end behavior when we were looking at our parabolas and our x's to the thirds. When those polynomial functions had end behavior, they were either up or down or up down if it was odd, or down up. All right, so that end behavior, they're just focusing on the end behavior. And with rational functions, it deals with your horizontal asymptotes. Okay, all right, so kind of intense, but that's where we are. The level that we're at. Okay, questions so far?